I thought I'm just going to try it like this. If everyone can let me know if I'm like visible and if everyone can hear me, that would be great. That's not working. Do you hear an annoying beep as well? Oh, 1 moment, please. Yeah, is the sound okay? Yeah, it's still like the... Yeah, this... The other phone's doing that. Yeah, the beeper, that's the phone next to me. But it might be over now, isn't it? Okay, good. Now everything's working. So for everyone who's watching the replay, please skip the first 5 minutes. Let me have a look. What kind of suggestions did you come up with? PO49, I not just made that, but I refilled that yesterday, so that's drying. PY40, yeah, why? Um, any other suggestions? Payne's Gray, it's a mix. And to be honest, there's so many versions that I really don't know where to start with that one. That's my 3D printer. One moment, please. That should be working fine again. Good evening and good day, everyone. Blacks. We can make a spinal black. Don't feel forced to log on Palo. Just watch it whenever you can. See you next time, and enjoy the walk and your dinner. So black. Yeah, that's a possibility. So we can make PBK 26, for instance, the deepest and blackest black that I have. Other things are, I bet, more important than this. So what does a spectral curve let you know about pigments, why they show it? I'm not really sure that you will learn what you want to learn there. I mean, they'll show what kind of wavelengths are reflected, obviously, but not why. So PG50, beautiful. PR259, ultramarine pink. That's actually a good one, since I think I need to refill some, but I also need to check if I have enough pens for that. Not a lot of pens in my stock, but I can do that. I will just open the drawers of things that we can do. So PBK 26, PR 259, PG 50s there. Let me start with a spinal black first. Right, so this is PBK 26. And I want to know if the other thing is working. Yeah, there it is again. So I'm using the Go Together Live option for YouTube since the other dual camera option wasn't working. So it's a bit sad actually. I'm going together live with myself. That's weird. Yeah, true black. A very deep black. Not as deep as Vanta black, but that is not available as a pigment like this. Or any like nanofiber based, nano tube based paint. Why do you say true? Well, because this black is the truest black there is in a pigment. Without a lot of reflections. Spinal is not a pigment. The spinal black. This is just the name of it that Crema Pigmenta gave it. But there's an iron chromite manganese brown spinal, for instance, that I received. So spinal is, I think, but then I would need Paolo again to help me with this. It's the way how it's made. So that Rembrandt has a black or something called spinal doesn't particularly mean it's this, or it should be PBK 26. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah, neutral tints would be a good name for it. So just between us, I suspect that this is the same black pigment that has been used in Black 3.0 by a certain paint maker, um, only within a matte medium. So oh, that is great. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just going to fix the other camera. So that's better. What time is it, painting hiding? Where you are? Is there a black that washes out more cream color slash brown, like an ivory black, but more? Well, this is PBK26, and this does not wash out brown. It's quite a easy paint to mold. Let me just make a little swatch test here before I throw everything over my desk next to me. Yep. What's the pigment of the blackest black that one guy painted a room with? I don't know who painted a room with the blackest black, like commercially available, or is that the Fanta black you meant? I need more water. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's probably Fanta black. Let me have a look if I can find something. Yeah, there's loads of blacks that have that warm undertone. I'll have a look for you. Okay. This is a very deep black. I'm just going to let this dry, the swatch. In the meantime, let me just grab something so I can explain how Vanta black works and why that is the most light absorbing black there is. So, a regular pigment, let's just use my spectrometer for it. So, regular pigment is a particle that has a certain size. It can have nooks and crannies and can also look like this or perfectly round or in a certain shape. Um, but this reflects light. As you can see, my lamp, it reflects light in different angles and it just reflects the wavelengths that it does. In this case, with black, if you have a very deep black like this, it absorbs most light and only reflects some of it. With Vanta black, my toilet roll, um, the pigment particles look like this. These are nanotubes. Obviously, it's not that this big, but imagine that a pigment particle, a black pigment particle, looks like this. If light hits it, it'll kind of bounce in this nanotube until almost or nothing comes out of the other side. So have a lot of those tubes, and all light from all angles is absorbed by the nanotube, and none of it is bounced back. So that's how nanotechnology works with pigments. Instead of, a solid piece that just wants to bounce light back of certain wavelengths. You make mulling look too easy. I need to train with bicep curls before I get into mulling. Yeah, I do work out 3 times a week, so that really does help. Although I overdid it last week, and there's a muscle like annoying me. Um, okay, I'm just going to scoop this into dots. It is also a very like friendly pigment, so it's not something that is a very hard pigment to mull. It's not also it's not the cheapest pigment. It's not a very expensive pigment. It's not the cheapest pigment. PBK 26, but it's a nice neutral black, and it's neutral because it really isn't leaning towards cold or warm as a black, but it's just black. And in washes, that'll make a neutral gray. I am making a mess. It was just a drop, lucky. I'll be fine, don't worry about that. Swatch diluted wash. Yeah, I need to take some new paper for that, but I'll do it. So, also doing some quarter cans of this, since not everyone needs a load of black in their watercolor palette. Also, that's why a dot pen will do, especially with this pigment. It is quite an intense black pigment. Yeah, the malachite is um, that's just a mineral pigment, so that's not a synthetic PG39. It's the natural one, and quite a coarse one for me. So I need to really grind that down on my slab before I can pour it. Okay, so I'm going to get some paper. After this, I can make a PG50 turquoise. So a very diluted wash. That is a bit too much water for my liking. But this will do the job quite nicely. My ceiling is low. I have a, it's like, my studio is behind our house, and the house has quite high ceilings, but this was built later. So, which pigment is the spinel gray from Rembrandt's? Is that also PBK26? Hmm. They probably just used ducking. It's not that low. I mean, like, they might just use less pigment in it when it's PBK 26 and they call it gray. Maybe they use a filler or an extender, or I don't know. Well, cozy might be the right word. It sure can be fuller than I have it right now. That's one thing I know for sure. Well, about talents, um, I know for a fact that I use some of the same pigments as they do from the same suppliers as well. So, might be just the case. PBK 27 Cobalt Black. Cobalt Black, Cobalt Black, Cobalt Black. Um, I'm going to look up if that is in my collection. PBK 27 Cobalt Black. I don't have that one. Iron Cobalt Chromite Black Spinal. But I can get it. You have a magnetite sample. Magnetite. It's very close to the PBK 11 I made last stream. It is a form of magnetite that I made, but basically an iron oxide. What granulates and what's expensive? Sorry, the chat is a bit behind, and if you are reacting on each other and I'm like talking, that kind of confuses me a bit sometimes. Sorry about that. No, this is a Muller from Jackson's art, which they used to have, but I found out that they don't have them anymore. My smallest Muller is from Kramer, and sorry about this. So is my biggest Muller. So this is one that I use for large batches. I'm just, during lives, I'm only making what the camera can see. Okay, and Siri is joining us again. So annoying. I only use the big Muller for batches that I have loads of paint. But yeah, there is a big difference between these. So there's 9 of you and 6 thumbs up. Guys, there's something wrong with that. Green Earth. Let me just have a look how much of them are in stock. This is kind of my so I can make cobalt turquoise. That's almost gone. Green Earth also. I can make, especially can make dots of it. Looks like a pacifier. Fair enough. I got a set with original Caput Mortum from Kramer. Is this one discontinued? Shooter Babe, could you please let me know which product numbers on there, then I can look it up either in my database or in theirs. I'm very glad about if the sound is okay for everyone. For those of my regulars, is the sound like the same as it is usually? Because I really like. I'm looking at the live stream myself as well to find um, to find to look at the chat. So and there's a screen, there's a screen, and there's a screen. But I like that in the on the horizontal display, like an iPad or a computer, it's placed next to each other. Because on my phone, I see like me on the top and my plate on the bottom. So this was kind of an experiment, and I'm glad it's working. Except for the first 5 minutes. If you rewatch it, skip the first 5 minutes. Hi, Anina, welcome. And for everyone whom I didn't say welcome to, welcome everyone. I'm really glad everyone's joining. Everyone's here. Make sure if you enter the chat to put a thumbs up. It'll help my followers and other people find this live, find my channel. Yeah, I have a PayPal, so if you want to sponsor me for a wireless mic, that's just fine. I can do a test with my headphones once, and then I can just pop them in and see if that sounds okay. So 48, 7, and 10. I'm just going to have a quick look for you. Let me have a look. That is Caput Mortuum Dark, so that might be the first thing. Yeah, so I think they changed. I'm just going to compare the safety data sheets for one moment. Um, no, I need like 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of watch time, and I'm not nearly there at 4,000. That's the hardest part. So I think you need to have super chat for that as well, right? If you see any payment like options in the chat, feel free to use them. But no, I didn't like enter any payment options in YouTube yet, so there's probably no option here for it. Let me just look up that pigment number again, 48710. It's I obviously would appreciate if you check out my Etsy. Absolutely, I'm going on the car speakers. Yes, I won't let you make any weird sounds or something. Um, I'm just still looking in the caput mortuum. Um, so it is a mixture of iron, manganese oxide, aluminum oxide, titanium oxide, and some other things. It's a synthetic one, whereas the 2 or 3 caput mortuums Kramer have right now. It's one synthetic one. It's a caput mortuum reddish, which has phthalo blue in it, so it's a mixture as well. But it is a natural, like PR 102, and then you have the caput mortuum violet, which is a like fully natural hematite, a brownish one, and I think that's pretty close to the one that you had. So let me have a look at the chat. Sorry about this, guys. Yanina says, you love to try to make your own watercolors. Big art store nearby closing down. Pigments are available at 50% off. Let me know which ones they have. You live in Germany, right? So shipping would be okay to me. Schminke, Winsor and Newton, Lucas watercolors also 50% off. Yeah, it's you know, selling that's a good deal. 50% is a good deal. Let me know which pigments they have. I might be interested, and we can get in touch through Instagram or something like that. 50% off for pigments for me. That's sounds like a no-brainer. Tracy, can you pay with PayPal, or is there a different YouTube payment for what? I don't know what you were. Oh, you were talking about the thanks thing. Yeah. So I what's cover is also already answered you on that. I almost wanted to say I have a PayPal, so feel free to make donations. But there's my coffee. That's what's there. That's what that is for. Let's make cobalt teal PG50. Goodbye, sure babe. Um, great evening, and yeah, just visit whatever, you know. Don't feel forced or anything, but feel free to just watch what I have. If you miss anything, just let me know. Because I have loads of pigments, and I can make, and I do make custom orders as well. Actually, I do want to share one. It's a Caput Morton that I have. It's a synthetic one, and it really amazes me on how this pigment swatches. Like what the pigment looks like, what it looks like on the slab when I'm making paint, and how it swatches. So I'll just make a small scoop of that just to show you. After that, I can show you the swatches of the spinel black. I can imagine you want to win the golden ticket, yes. PG19 is a very, very lovely pigment, although I might prefer PG26, maybe. So it starts out as a like violet earthish pigment. Then when you wet it, it will turn quite red. I'm just going to use a smaller muller for this. Sorry for the noise. So it's not that bad, but still more so as it was with the black that I just made. Yeah, Janina, I know you just said you'd hit me up on Instagram, but oh, sorry to hear that, Tracy. Yeah, this is a synthetic iron oxide. It's kaput mortem, but a synthetic one. PR101, which are basically all iron oxides. Red ochre is an iron oxide. There's iron oxide in that, although it's more than that. It's a mixture of clay, iron oxide, which gives it the color. So usually hematite gives it the color. But also depending on what kind of other minerals are in there, that can change the color. I don't know anything about what Daniel Smith claims. Because they claim things. So, watch this. That is like dark violet instead of a bright red. And it's less visible on camera, I know. And we'll just let this, oh, I'm just putting it in the water. We'll just let this dry and you see what happens. So I'm just doing some mass downy things here. I hope they still spread a bit. Probably will. Not doing professional swatch here, as you can see. So iron oxide is basically rust. Nope. Yeah, yellow iron oxides. That's rehydrated iron oxide. I need to put this correct. It's late for me. So basically, when we're talking about ochres, we are talking about ochres, right? It's clay mixed with, in red cases, hematite, and in yellow cases, goethite. It's not always pure goethite. We call that limonite as well, but that's mostly goethite with some other stuff. So limonite and goethite aren't the same thing. By heating it, so by heating that ochre, that colored clay, um, you can change the colors. You can get an orange ochre with the same materials in it. You can get deep reds. Think about siennas or umbers. So a raw sienna looks like a yellow ochre. Usually it's PY43, 40, wow, yeah, PY43 yellow ochres. But you have siennas that are PBR7. What does it say? Absolutely nothing except for the part that is natural. So PY42 is synthetic. PY43 is natural, as the A watercolor is just said it about the reds. PR101 synthetic, PR102 is natural. So the lowest number is synthetic. That's, kind of a way to remember it. As you can see here, this stuff granulates. This stuff separates. It's a single pigment, but there's like darks and reds separating from each other. It's not flocculating. This is clearly a granulating swatch, but one that also separates into two different colors. Because of that, heavy iron oxide probably in it. Um, Iron oxides are a mixture of different. It's not like you have a iron oxide. That's just one thing that's put in there. But this caput mortuum is quite lovely. It's very hard to distinguish when it's dry in its pan with my Indian red. But Indian red is very opaque. It does not separate, and it's a really beautiful red earth color. Whereas this can make beautiful washes. It has deep reds, quite vibrant reds in it, but it also separates in a very dark, almost black, granulating watercolor. So that's why I want to show you this, the Caput Mortuum that I have. I'm quite happy with the pigment. I used to have it in my regular line of paint when I started because I was quite fascinated by it. But then I thought my Indian red was more versatile as an earth mixer. So, but I might just bring this back. Move into a violet shade. Yo, you could say so. Looking at like the wash here, and like I said before, it's really hard on camera, especially with all the like LED lights that I have over here. But you could say this is a violet leaning one. Yes. Let me have a look for PR101 pens because I'm going to waste it. You need this color. On that case, let me just make some dots as well. If you order anything from me, say you want a dot of Caput Mortuum and I'll just add it for you. You might even get that one because that's almost twice the amount that I usually do. Before it spills. And please also tell me that it's from the YouTube live because I would look up really weird if my customers say I demand a dot of this color with my order. Usually I add dots of colors to orders, like as little gifts, but I just do that out of myself. I've never had someone demanding things from me. Was there an order open from? Yeah, yeah. Please, I'm sorry. It's like it's too many systems for my head. I have my Etsy shop and the work I do for my Etsy shop. Then I have the social media, like the tutorials I try to make in the videos, and if educational stuff. I have the lives where I just actually enjoy talking to all of you because I really do, and I'm really thankful for it. But when I see your name on one of my like printed invoices, well, I think I can remember it. But that wasn't for an order, right? Was it? Hopefully, it'll go out after the weekend. I'm quite busy with a lot of things because I'm also I'm also like in contact with pigment suppliers to try out either new pigments, or I'm constantly trying to offer the best version possible to everyone. So where I might now offer a color with a certain pigment, I always want to try if another supplier can supply me with the pigment of better quality. Uh, Too many live streams. I know. Probably once or twice a week. I'll do it now. Not more, just for my own sake. Caput mortem is such an evocative in the history of pigments. Yes and no. Don't confuse it for mummy. I know those names were kind of used interchangeably. Um, but it's not the same thing. Dot by dot. Luckily, you didn't see that happening. Hi, everyone who just joined. I'm making a mess here of things. Unbelievable. I need to um, I need to get my stuff to give you a proper answer for that, because it's a weird story. They are not the same pigment. Caput mortuum has been used to describe the pigment of mummy brown, but that's basically because of what caput mortuum means. Um, so I'm not sure if they were the same pigment at a time, or they were confused because of the meaning of caput mortuum. Look at that, I just made caput mortuum dark by the tiniest drop of that spinel black I just made. So you see how strong that pigment is. And this pigment isn't that bad with like how staining it is and how much work it is to get it off everything. They are like the red ochres, but I think the quality of that is just way finer than it is. I have a Egyptian remake palette here. This is red ochre. So it's very similar in how it dries as a paint, but this is like bright red earth. That also dries as a bright red earth, whereas this Caput Mortem that I just made, the swatch is dry, so I can show you. Just need to clean my hands a bit as well. Thank you, a watercolorist. Although I have to say, I've always had a fascination with Egypt and the Egyptian history. My parents used to live there for a while before I was born. But they brought the stories, and I was always fascinated by it as a kid. Then I saw a post by the Smithsonian about the watercolor palette that was found. They actually lived in Cairo. This is actually a better one, although it did spill a bit. This is an improved version where I still need to paint this, but the pigment numbers are on the back of each pigment. So I used lapis lazuli, malachite, yellow ochre, brown ochre, red ochre, and bone black for it. I could have used azurite, as that was used earlier by the Egyptians. I didn't want to use Egyptian blue because it just didn't seem like the right hue of blue for it. And I could have used carbon black, since that was used earlier than bone black, but I didn't like that black in combination with the other colors. So yeah, I made a 3D model of it, cleaned like the original up a bit because that was probably made out of ivory or some kind of bone. Um, Made a replica of the hieroglyphs with a 3D printer. Yeah, they used lamp black, and they probably used azurite as well. But I just like this better. Also, the texture it gave, like the texture of bone black next to the iron oxides of yellow, brown, and red ochre. It was more in balance with bone black. So obviously, I could have like kept it as close to the history as possible, but I also wanted to be a practical watercolor palette that people can use, and having that as balanced as possible is quite important for that. So I'm kind of looking at the time right now, 8:45 almost. So we already talked about a lot of things. I showed you a lot of stuff. kind of looking at things I'm working on and things I need to finish. Yeah, I'm not going to start with anything for the Egyptian palette. It's just because it's late and I need more focus for. If I screw that up, it's like I'm screwing up an entire palette. Thank you very much for the kind words. I'm just going to have a look if I have a that was sent out yesterday, I think. Well, I have no painted version left anymore, so it's not that much work to paint it, but it's not something I can do right now here on the spot. So about the hematite, this is the hematite. This is the Caput Mortem swatch. It's fully dry now. You see how it's separated? And while my iPad is still alive, let me show you Spinel Black. So that's the wash part, kind of grayish. It'll probably, especially on the screen, will look more gray, as you can see here. This is zero reflectance. This is zero reflectance. And this is full reflectance of wavelengths. Overall, there's a straight line with just a dip in the violets, a small dip. There's a straight line, which means it doesn't reflect any color at all. Not just a tiny bit, obviously, or else there wouldn't be like a line. So that's a very black. The swatch of the black shows exactly the same thing, only not exactly the same thing. It now reflects about 30% of all wavelengths equally, since the white paper shines through. Still, there's that dip in the violets. Otherwise, it's very much from like blue violet to violet, a straight line. So the more you wash it, the more white shines through, the higher this line will be. Can we check the paper? I have a clean piece of paper here. Let's just see what that reflects. That should reflect everything except for the violets as well. So that's why that dip is a bit deeper in the wash, I think. But yeah. So that's how a spectrometer works. This is the kind of an illustrated version of which wavelengths are being reflected. You have the black over here is near infrared. Then you have the reds, oranges, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, violets. Question is, are oranges wavelengths, or is that just an overlap between yellow and red wavelengths? There's some discussion about that. They're just wavelengths to me. I'm accepting that. And while we're at it, it's a wash. It's not really a fair thing to look at, but there's quite a straight line to the yellows, and from the yellows on, it's a warm. Yeah, it's literally, if you look at it, how it's looking at. There's a sensor here underneath that just focus on a tiny spot of that pigment I'm aiming it at. It looks like liver salmon-ish. I don't know. Let me go back to the chat since it's really inconvenient to look at the chat. Like I only see single messages popping up on my live. I need to get rid of the charger cable. There we go. Let me have a look. Does the spun back make green mixed with yellows? You're asking me now? I've cleaned everything up. You should ask Nix to work with them on making a watercolor pigment library like they have for house paint brands. I have, and that's also why they kind of were kind enough to partly sponsor me for getting the Nix spectrometer. Although it's really difficult since if I would do that, I would actually need pigments from one brand only to do that. I can't just say, these pigments are PBK26 has this spectral curve, since from another manufacturer it might just differ. Not likely with that pigment, but for an ultramarine, which ultramarine, where was it manufactured, when was it manufactured, also very important. It's really difficult to do that. So I can make a library for myself, like this is the dirty blue pigment library, but it's not something as trustworthy or used as a resource as they have with the house paints. So it's difficult to do a similar thing with watercolors. Also, if I say this is the reflectance curve of ultramarine blue, for instance, and you buy an ultramarine from a different brand, and you hear that information from Nix, they sound unreliable, which they aren't, because I might have just used a different ultramarine blue. It's difficult. But to come back to the question of a watercolorist, does spindle black make a green when mixed with yellow? You should think the other way around. Yellows make greens when black is mixed with them. I have a very old version of Color Disc from Color Nerd here. This is a very old version, but this is a laminated one. And if we look at this, or if we look at the Artist Color Wheel by Bruce McAvoy, you see the hue angles.
Je kunt wijzigen hoe ik de naam.
Siri, seriously, leave me alone. So, hue angles. Yellows here, hue angle 90. If you go down, you get olive green, for instance. Right? So here as well. So if you go down with the yellows, they just turn greenish. So it's, I think, more like changing that question. And it'll probably make a beautiful green when it's mixed with yellow. Or when you take a yellow and you put a little bit of spindle black through it, I think it'll make a beautiful green. Olive green, dull green, desaturated green. But just even giving us the idea on what pigment would match the color being scanned would help a lot. More general question than rather exact. Yeah, but working on it, okay? Just, I'm working on it. And yes, that's Dutch, Nicole. Oh, my series Dutch because I am. Now, Bruce McAvoy's website is a very extensive one. When you're talking about, going down a rabbit hole, that's a rabbit hole. Okay, one moment. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's do some PG-15. I was very careful opening the cupboard over there, or else all the lights would have turned red again, and I don't want that. How many languages do you speak fluently? English and Dutch. If I practice German a bit, I might be able to do it. If I read French, I can sound fluently French. I can adapt to accents quite well. But to be honest, I dropped German when I was 15, I think. I just really didn't like my teacher. And I chose French as a language because I thought that was a beautiful language. That is a beautiful language. But as soon as I had my high school, I finished high school. I think that part before I went to the art academy. I never really spoke a word of French anymore. So okay, please think about wearing a mask at all times when making paint. I'm actually going to do so now myself as well. Since I'm making a lot of paint, but always with cobalts, cadmiums, or anything, you need to be extra careful. I'm not going to. Is there anyone from Germany left here? So I'm using all the precautions. I did this before my live stream, but I'm now doing it again. I'm I'm putting on invisible gloves since I don't want any particles to go in my skin, or I want them to wash off easily. Those are beautiful mixes, yeah. So as soon as the paint is wet and I've like milled it a bit, I'm going to put this off again. So you'll hear me proper again, but for now, I'm sorry if I sound a bit like Darth Vader. PG50 comes in really many hues. Apple green, dark green, bright teal like this one. If you don't know what I'm saying, I'll just say it again as soon as I put off my mask. Yeah, cobalt green light can be a version of PG50 as well. So that is all wet pigment, and a quick try, that you can do if you are in doubt whether you can take off your mask, is just go with your finger over your muller and see if there's any pigment there. If it's not, you're safe. It means the pigment just didn't fly around and settles like on a surface that's quite close by. With very light pigments like phtalos, or quinacridons, or uh, parallenes as well. The dust can keep flying around for like 20 minutes, sometimes longer, especially if you're mixing or milling too wildly. So you should keep your mask on, and don't let your kids help you. Please don't do that. Even when the paint is wet, I have a air filtration system over there and over there and behind me with my printers. The amount of pigment that is sucked in these things when I clean the filters every 2 weeks or so is ridiculous. So that's all. It's quite high. I know it's not a high studio I'm in, but this one is at eye level. The one on my right side, and this one is at my ceiling, and they kind of blow to each other. So there's a circulation going on here, um, which I'm very happy with. But as I see how dirty the filters are, and just colored with pigments that I made, for 1 week, for instance, I only made greens, and 1 week I only made yellows, and I could literally see that in the filters. Um, I was shocked by that, and really happy that I'm wearing masks. In my how to make watercolor paint class videos, I'm not mentioning a cobalt. This is probably one of the easiest pigments I can make. Like, you saw how buttery smooth it already is, but to avoid any risk for people new to making paint, I would never suggest making a cobalt. And if you look it up, it's not as scary as I let it sound maybe now. It's not that I get cobalt poisoning as soon as I breathe in some dust. No. That's Siri again. Seriously, how can I? Can you just leave me alone, Siri? I'll just turn her off on my iPad. Anyway, breathing in too much of it, that's not good for your health. PG50 and PG18. I can imagine PG50, PB35. Yes, I can imagine that as well. Although I like both pigments on their own so much, I think it's a shame mixing them. But that's just how PB35 just like falls apart in its granulation. PG50P and PG18. I'll try that once. It could very well be possible that cobalt accumulates in the body. Obviously, we're working with pigments. This is not. It's never good to inhale pigments, even if it's a um, harmless pigment. Anything that's not oxygen should just stay out of your lungs. It's that simple. And yet we did make a beautiful cyan with quinacridone violet and PG50. Yeah, this is like just a bit of mulling and this powder. It almost melts into the binder, which is beautiful. I'm first going to check if there's still some things I need to top off. Good thing I did check that at first. I've had that so many times, filling all new pens and then wanting to put them in my drying rack, and then finding out that there's loads of pens that still needed to be topped off with the paint. Just going to have a quick look if I can quickly find a cyan swatch. Manganese blue is like a true cyan, right? Does everyone agree with me on that? Or else I have phthalo cyan, PB17. So let me have a look what you... I'm finding PB28 takes twice the pigment to binder. Really? If I compare cobalt turquoise, PG50, with phthalo cyan or manganese blue, you see a difference between like a cyan and like the PG50, right? So, and then there's PB35 next to it for people who think that looks somewhat like cyan. This is way too warm for a cyan. It's the closest green to a cyan. I have to agree with you on that. And there are some versions that are really, really cyan, especially in water and in oil paints, where you don't have that granulation. And they look too blue to you. That might be the camera, because PB17 is really almost a perfect cyan as a pigment. Ooh, that's too much, that's too much, that's too much. Oops, scooping that off. Oh, this one's leaking just in time. This pen made a mess. Depending on like what you want for a cyan. If you want a non-granulating cyan, the camera made them look like ultramarine blue. Guys, just don't say stuff like that. Now I need to look through my swatches again. My hands are dirty. manganese blue, cyan, ultramarine blue. All right. Phthalo-cyan, ultramarine blue. Yes, it could be the camera. Yes, it could be your screen. It could be both. But these are very different colors. When everything like kind of settles down a bit, Janina, like I have loads of ideas that I still wanna do, and finishing up the orders and just finishing up some stuff. I am thinking about a subscription plan for pigments that won't end up in my shop. So could be special pigments, could be rare pigments, or rare pig. Yeah, I'm not going to put any extinct pigments in there. I did a project for that, but it could be like a ultramarine blue greenish version. Very beautiful, but not in my shop. It could be a triad pen like the one for my giveaway. It could be things like that. So thinking about a subscription, absolutely. But I have so many ideas I still need to do, and I'm just kind of starting my YouTube. So yeah, eventually. Oh, stop it with the cyan. Sorry about that. It's just PB33 and PB17 like are the closest thing to cyans in you know within the hue circle. So looking at cyan, it will be this is cyan. Like I need to look it up by here. So yeah, cobalt, teal, and phthalocyan or manganese are almost as far apart as these are from true cyan. But true blue, like yin min, is no, you don't need to apologize. But yin min is blue blue. Looking at wavelengths, yin min only reflects blue, no other wavelengths. With these things, I can show you, but I get what you're saying. But manganese blue and phthalocyan are not blue blues. Far from it. What color is not a good mixer? Cobalt violet. PV14 or PV49, not good mixers at all. Worst mixers there are. Is there anything else? No, these, stand out a lot. Could you look it up for me, Tracy? 'Cause I do have to be honest, I printed this quite a while back. I'm going to quickly hop behind my laptop as well. The artist color wheel. I think this is the same one, right? 2009. Yeah, that's the same one. Thank you. As you can see, I'm using quite many of these cloths when making paint to contaminate as little as possible. Note that, like, when I go live, I have really small batches of paint on my slab. Mostly because, then it would be visible on camera. Where did I leave a spray? Well, everyone, have a great night, Janina. And I don't know if you already sent a message, but like, hook me up on Instagram because I'm really interested in those pigments. Let's have a look. How long are we live? 111 minutes already. I think I'm going as well. I don't want to do too much still now. The later it gets, the more mistakes I make, or the less neatly I work, and that's just a shame. So let's not do that. Any suggestions for next live stream? Live stream. Don't scream. Although feel free to scream. I don't hear you. But any suggestions? Leave them in the comments after the stream ended, so in the replay, or let me know. Also, let me know if you like this, like seeing me, or instead of only hearing me and seeing the plate. I tried it before, and it just felt a little bit more personal to talk to you about pigments like this and showing you on the slab. And I think it works quite well, but please Let me know your opinion if you already liked this, or if you just liked a bigger view of the slab and muller, um, instead of this. Everything's fine, like nothing's personal. Um, if you don't like this, please tell me. If you did like this, please tell me. Also, if you have any idea of any pigments that you would like to hear about, know about, see, let me know as well. It really means a lot to me, your input, so I can improve my output. And also for future viewers and an audience, I just want to get the best possible content out. I know the lives aren't the best possible content, but it's the most social content, the most interactive content, which I really like. I do enjoy the chat, and I do enjoy all of you that I get to know this way. But my videos about certain pigments with the caption, that's where usually I put most information in, and I just sit down for it. I write it down, I look it up, I recheck it, I fact check it. There goes a lot of effort in the videos. I've always done it on Instagram, um, and I want to do that on YouTube now as well. So let me know. Any ideas for pigments? Maybe like very special pigments, pigments that you use most. On World Pigment Day, I made my favorite pigment, which was nickel as a green, or green gold. You like both views? Good, Tracy. Good to hear that. If there's any input from anyone else, let me know here or in the comments, on the replay, or on my posts, or just send me DM. Whatever works for you works for me. I have PG10, yes, but I used that a while back in my live stream to make yellow with orange and green. So you can look it up there as well. Alizarin crimson. That's kind of obsolete, right? I know there's still love for it as a pigment. Color Nerd posted a video about it today, and I talked about that a while back as well, because quinacridone's kind of replaced that pigment, right? But I can make it for you, no problem. I also have Thioindigoid violet, Thioindigoid red, but those have been fully replaced by quinacridone PV19, both of them, two different hues. PO49, yeah, I didn't make that today, I'm sorry, but I have like a very informative, no, I have a good video on that on my YouTube, if you haven't checked that out, Tracy. I know it's fun to watch it live, but I made that yesterday, not in a live, but just during work hours, so that's drying right now. Giful, I've only recently found you, and I'm very grateful for the information you're sharing. I like both your style of post. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the compliment. Thank you very much for your time, because that also means a lot to me. Also, give this live a thumbs up if you haven't already. You like PR83. PR83. I'm going to look that up. PR83. Let me look which one that is, how that is called. 83. Oh yeah, oh just matter, right? Yeah, I know, but it's like in my system, it's like alizarin crimson, matter lake, alizarin matter. Like yeah, I know. So I don't make it as watercolor. So 84, 84. There's no 84. Is there an 84? No, that's 83 definitely. Um, there's not even an 84. There's 83 and 85 and 88, and I have them. You like both views. Thank you. I might do this more often. I might not, but I have the option now here. So I have an older phone with a good camera over here, and I have my own phone, like I always use over there. I'm tired as well. Your brain has stopped functioning. I think mine has stopped like 20 minutes ago. What's PR85? Guys, I just said I'm tired. No, that's not your fault. The chat's behind. PR85 is Algo pink or Indo red, and it's an anthraquinone pigment. And PR88 is thioindigoid, red or violet. And then you have PR90, which is, and I really like this name of a pigment, vermilionnette. It's like vermilion, but then the lady version of it, vermilionnette. Or a more masculine name for PR90, imperial red. So yeah, that's that. Guys, I'm just talking nonsense right now. I mean, those were facts, by the way. That's their names, but it really doesn't do anything for this live, and I should have kind of gone 10 minutes ago. Is there a book you recommend that has all the pigments? No, not really. Not all the pigments. The thing is, I have the pigment compendium. It's a great book. Yeah, but that's not it. Like the pigment compendium, it's expensive. But when you look at, for instance, manganese violet, um, it says what it is, what it's made out of. This is a very technical book. It doesn't say any pigment numbers with it as well. So if you are like me, quite like color index minded, full screen for bad hair day. I always wear a hat, and yeah, I should have shaven, okay, but or at least trimmed a bit. a pigment book. After this, I'm really going. Tracy, can you elaborate on that? It is an academic book, yeah. So it's not really. This doesn't really do much for you if you are color index minded like I am, but I'm more than that. Like, yeah, yes, I want to know more about the pigments. Yes, I want to know more what it's made of. But also, since I have a, is it no? It's not there. That behind me, a very good microscope behind me. Um, it's for identifying pigments under cross-polarized light, and this is really helpful for me. A book I can recommend to you if you want to have some kind of thing for you. A watercolorist, sorry, 26. It's closer to 300 right now. I don't know when it was 26, but it's never been 26 as far as I know. Maybe the ebook that was $25 once. Let me get one book for you. That has pigment numbers, also some spectral curves, and some really great background information. So is this one, the Artist's Handbook. Yeah, 3 years ago it was over €200 here as well. So, if it was that cheap there, then that was great for those of you who got it for that price. The Artist's Handbook by Rolf Meyer has like a good start with pigments, but also you see. Nope, nope, no, nope, no. Sorry, Siri was joining us again. I'm sorry about that. A watercolorist. If it's free by the publisher or by the author itself, then by all means. But if it's free in any other way, I won't support that. Sorry about that. These people put hard work in it. I know some things are available, but if you can support authors, artists, if you financially can, please support them. So these have, for instance, let me have a look if alizarin crimson is in there. Here, PR83. Light fastness of 3. This would be the tint of 2%. So the spectral curve from 400 to 700. So that's the same thing that I'm showing you. And full strength, so no blue reflected in full strength. So this has great information on this toxicity, how it's acting in oil, what kind of compatibility it has in vehicles, so binders, alizarin crimson made by developing a liberal rod. So it has information on it. This is the artist's handbook of materials and techniques by Rolf Mayer or Meyer, depending where it comes from. A little more serious looking book without that cover. So if you wanna buy a book, I'm not sponsored or whatsoever. I bought this myself as well to just read into how other people see things, if that connects to um, you know, the way I work, or if there's anything I can learn from that. There's a lot of free information on the internet, though. Artistcreation.com is great for just having some kind of overview for pigments. So is handprint.com. I think those are the most used by me as well. I have my own database of pigments that I own. So building that up for myself as well. Yeah, hi Sandra. You are late because I was actually going 20 minutes ago. Still here. But yeah, I'm trying this out like a double view thing. Um, yeah, I will upload it as soon as I don't know if that works, by the way. Okay, so we're going to check that out as well. My wife just texted me that she has ice cream and we're going to watch Netflix. So I'm going, guys. Um, I'm going to have a look where this video ends up, since it's a shared live stream. Usually, this is like one person there and one person there, or depending if you look, on a screen or on the phone. Um, I'm just going to upload it. Maybe it'll be uploaded as a podcast because I'm using two streams. Maybe it'll be uploaded as a crazy live. I'm not sure about that. See you next time, guys. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And in the comments, just leave whether you like the double view thing, or if you just like the plate and just my voice, or if I need to shut up at all next live stream and just mill some mineral pigments that are noisy. Also, leave a comment on which pigments you want to see being milled next time, and hopefully see you there. Bye, guys.